Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. I'm gonna be just completely honest with you. This episode didn't do anything for me. This episode was just boring. Just a boring mess. And not even a hot mess. Just an absolute mess. The whole scenes with Nicholas and Sam was just very jarring for me because it's one of those things. It's like once I knew how they retconned it and how they're rebooting it or they're pretending that people don't know what's really going on, it just made it that much more difficult to watch. Like watching Sam talk about Hayden and the shooting with Nicholas was just, it made absolutely no sense. You know, asking about his whereabouts or his other stuff. I'm just like, I just watched this scene a couple of days ago from subscribers that told me about this other reviewer. And I'm literally sitting there thinking about the scene where Sam, and I'm pretty sure Sean, was confronting Nicholas about Hayden's shooting. So this scene, to me, just was jarring and it made no damn sense. And here's something that's even more jarring. After Sam was sitting there talking to Liz about, asking about, where's Hayden, Hayden's whereabouts, has she said anything, and, anything that you can remember. After they finished having that talk, Liz calls up, and during that talk, Liz was remembering when she confronted Nicholas about Hayden's shooting. The minute Sam left, Liz called up Nicholas and was like, we gotta talk now. And I don't remember if she said something about Hayden or anything like that, but Liz, how is this even working? So what, everyone's memory that confronted Nicholas was wiped except for Liz? Because I see in the previews, Liz is sitting there getting on Nicholas about Hayden's shooting. So I'm just like, so everyone's mind got wiped except for, hers? I'm not gonna lie. This is why I'm just like, this episode was so jarring because stuff like that. And of course you had Nicholas and Ava, and I felt like their scenes were just kind of rinse and repeat. It's the same thing over and over again. And this is after a talk he was sitting there having with Sam about how he understood why Ava decided to move out and file for divorce. But yet he is sitting again trying to, get her back or whatever, and Ava's sitting there saying the same thing. We can't do it. We can't do it. There's a stalker. He's after me. He's after my daughter. I can't do it. We can't be together. And of course they hug, and I'm just like, this is rinse and repeat all over again. Of course you got Spencer sitting there standing there like a creep. And by the way, the scene with Trina, Avery, and Spencer. When Spencer, really, when he said that thing about Avery and how she's spending time with Carly, it was like, wow, that was just cruel. That was just really cruel and unnecessary, just to remind her about, the fact that she can't spend time with her daughter because there's a there's a psychopath after Nicholas and Ava. So now they can't even sit there and spend time together. And I felt like that was just so cruel. And I'm like, bro, you got so much gall and gusto to sit there and come at Ava like that, but none of it is going towards Valentine. And towards the end, he talks to Ava, and he's like, maybe we should sit there and call it a truce. Let's just kind of forget everything. Because Ava's like, listen, I understand that you were still upset about me not testifying. I'm like, bro, that was years ago. And now Spencer's like, you want to just sit there and call it a truce? Also, apparently, Spencer is not there throwing some sort of party. He's going to be throwing some sort of rager or whatever. Because, I think he partially wants to do it to impress Trina. Then the other part, I guess, that's just who he is. So they're going to be throwing a party in the next couple of days, apparently. I don't know. I'm not going to lie. There are whole scenes together with Spencer and Jocelyn and Trina was just like, and Cam was just like, I don't like care. Also at one point, Jocelyn and Cam, well, pretty much Jocelyn was sitting there talking crap about Spencer. And Trina was like, are you trying to warn me away from Spencer? And Jocelyn was like, no, I'm keeping out of it. I don't sit there and, be nosy or stick my opinion in other people's relationships. And I'm just like, even if Jocelyn was, Trina, you have a mind of your own. Use it. It's amazing because in the beginning, in the first part of this episode, Trina was acting very cold and distant towards Spencer. And after a while, I'm not going to lie, it was getting a little kind of annoying. But then she kind of warmed up to him afterwards and even felt guilty about goading Spencer into throwing the party because, I may mess up things with his dad. But Spencer was like, nah, that's cool, we're going to do it, so get ready. Again, I just kind of, I didn't really care that much about that scene. You got Anna and Valentine talking about, Finn and, Anna's sitting there wondering and worried how she's going to sit there and protect Finn. And, at this point, the only thing that really came out that conversation is that most likely, because Valentine's like, most likely he's alive. What would it benefit somebody else to sit there and carry Peter out? Like, who else would sit there and help out Finn except for that other accomplice? So it's like, most likely, Peter's alive. He's been hiding for weeks. And now this dude's just plotting and planning. So, yeah. Also, Dante came over Anna's house in the beginning, was, not gonna lie, kind of acting like a dick. I mean, he was all, upset at the fact that, he felt like Anna wasn't there keeping him in the loop. Like, you getting down there to the basement first, you didn't really tell us anything like that, and overall just kind of being a dick. Even at Valentine, he was like, oh, well, Valentine can't change, people are always going to remain the same, and I'm just like, alright, bro, maybe you should either get some tea from her, or just, walk out the door. But he does go over to the Quartermaines to pick up Rocco. He has a conversation with Olivia, and they're sitting there talking about how Dante's going to sit there and take Rocco to go see Lula. And Olivia was like, listen, at some point, you need to start living your life again. Talks about Sam, maybe the reason why he's smiling so much. But whatever it is, he needs to start living life again. And at first Dante was sitting there kind of denying anything with Sam. But then he kind of agreed, maybe I should, but except for just, butt out. I don't know if Olivia... I still remember, I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, Olivia's not that bad. But then I was sitting there thinking about the whole Olivia with Dustin thing and how she was just getting on my last nerve. So, hopefully she'll sit there and take his advice and not be, Stella. But she is Olivia, so I guess we'll just wait and see. Brooklyn and Chase. So, they had a conversation, obviously. And the minute that Chase walked into the room, Brooklyn was sitting there talking about how, Brooklyn said something along the lines of, I'm not your real mother. And Chase walked in and was like, what do you mean by that? Now, this is also from a prior conversation she was sitting there having with Olivia. And Olivia was sitting there talking about how, she's being a good mother and she just needs to kind of let herself feel and just kind of just go all in. Of course, she really can't do that because, not really her mother, but whatever. And, Chase is like, you need to just believe in yourself, And what it really comes down to, towards the end, is that Brooklyn feels conflicted. Because on one hand, she's starting to love this child like it's her own, But on the other hand, she feels kind of guilty for lying to Valentine. She feels kind of guilty for even getting close to this child that's not even hers. But, you know, she's human and she has emotions, and, you know, it was eventually going to happen. So, you know, it's like the internal struggle that's going on with her. Also, Chase is, you know, he's feeling kind of down. He feels inadequate. You know, he feels like, you know, he's not enough for Willow. So he's sitting there talking about all this stuff with Willow. And Brooklyn just feels hella guilty because she knows what's going on. She knows that Michael and Willow are kind of, you know, in a lot of ways doing things behind his back. And even by her not saying anything, she's lying to him by omission. So she feels guilty. She feels guilty for a lot of things. But yeah, I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest about two things. One, I did this recording before, and I didn't like how it came out. Mostly because this episode didn't really do anything. It didn't really advance the storyline moving forward, and even a little bit that it did, as far as listening to talking to Nicholas and confronting him about, you know, hopefully the shooting at Hayden, it's just jarring. It's jarring because how does she remember, but Sam doesn't? Sam doesn't, Sean doesn't. I don't know if Laura, if she does or she doesn't, I have no idea. But this whole rebooting, this storyline makes no sense. And now we're adding the fact that Liz probably knows about Hayden's shooting. So I'm just like, what is going on? Like, it's just a jarring scene to watch. Hell, even when Sam was there talking to Nicholas about Hayden, it was like, I just watched the scene when Sam was there confronting Nicholas, well, Christopher Tyler Nicholas, but Nicholas about Hayden's shooting. And I believe Sean was there. Or Curtis. One of those two was there. So, having them sit down at the Metro Court, just kind of just casually talking about that was like, what? I mean, he also talked about Ryan too, but like, okay, I'm gonna be honest. Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask y'all a question. Did you like this episode? If so, why? If why not? Because I'm gonna be honest, watching this episode today made me miss days. Listen, I love General Hospital, and I do think it's the better soap opera, but it's episodes like this that reminds me, like, damn, I got like a whole nother week, and the days comes back on. What are you doing, GH? You are literally, it's like watching this episode was like watching paint dry in the beginning. I mean, hell, it was so bad that even before I started my review, I was like, you know, let me go with Brock TV's. Let me watch like 5 minutes of his, just to see what his thoughts are. See if he enjoyed it. Well, he didn't do his review yet, so it's just like, well, okay, I got my notes. And what was this episode about? I'm really looking at my notes now. I'm just like, this episode didn't do a damn thing. If this episode did something, and maybe I'm just being cynical, please let me know in the comment section. Because usually my reviews are a good about 20 minutes long. This review stopped at about 10 minutes. So that means it's just 14 minutes of me just, well, complaining about the episode that didn't really do anything. And that just kind of says a lot. Let's just all keep in mind that I did watch this show. I've been a huge fan of this show since 2001. So watching episodes like this is extremely disappointing for me. But with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are on the episode in the comment section for the episode below. If I missed anything, also write that down too, because I'm pretty sure I probably missed something. Halfway through, I'm just going to be honest. I'm just like, yo, they just stopped trying, so why should I? And I just started writing notes, and half of those notes was just like, really add up to anything. And I just kind of realized, like, what am I writing? this episode isn't going anywhere anyway. Screw it. Oh man, hopefully these episodes do start to get better. Something has to get better. It has to. Be safe, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.